Welcome to Tech Tuesday on the Final Boss podcast, where innovation meets attitude, and the future gets decoded one byte at a time. I'm your host, Turbo the CEO, and your co-host, Mike Foth. And today we're diving deep into the tech trenches to uncover the tools, trends, and truths shaping tomorrow. Whether you're a code slinger, gadget geek, or just tech curious, this is your weekly power-up. So grab your controller, plug in, and let's level up.
Welcome to Tuesday night edition of the Final Boss Podcast. This is Tech Tuesdays, episode number 174. We are here. I am here, man. Listen, we have a great show for you tonight, man. I'm not going to waste any time. And with any particulars, we're going to get right into it. Let me get my magic wand, as the Sensei has calls it. How are you feeling, sir? Before we get into the admin notes of the evening.
On the road again.
And can't wait till we get back on the road again. Listen, this is it, right? Look, people, go time, the fired up train. Go time, all aboard the fired up train. 5-star review across the board. Everybody's loving it. Everybody's talking about it. Go grab your motivation workbook. Go time, all aboard the fired up train. There's a series for that book and many more on the way. So I hope everyone is having a great and fantastical week. If you're into football, ooh boy, looks like our teams are seeing each other this weekend, Sensei.
Ooh, it's gonna be a game.
That it is, my friend. That it is. Look, hey guys, no matter where you are, whether you're watching us from Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Kick, Instagram, YouTube, or for your audible listening pleasures, Spotify, listen, please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to the material. Look, if the material resonates with you, don't gatekeep. Share it with 3 other people that you feel the information will resonate with them as well. Go share the information out, man. Don't gatekeep. Look, if you want to see and hear all of our episodes, go to our website at thefinalbosspodcast.com. Thefinalbosspodcast.com has all of our podcasts. You can check each and every last single episode out there on our very own website. And please continue to like, share, subscribe, and send us your messages. DM us. Email us at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. That's info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. If you like to email us, you have questions, concerns, you want to be on the show, you want to host your own show, email us at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com, and we will start the vetting process for you on that. Hello, Molly. Hello, Chikandi. And hello, Andrea. Hello, Cutie Girl Sprite. Hello, Raven Samranji. Thank you for joining us. And to everyone else who's out there who's joining us that I missed, I'll get you guys next time, man. But those are our usual. That's our usual bosses, final bosses, motivators, smarts, and warriors who are always here supporting us. So, look, we have a great show. Like I said before, episode number 174, on our way to episode number 200. And tonight, listen. Don't go nowhere. Listen up. What if I told you that while you're out here grinding, building, creating, someone's already figured out how to steal what you're creating, right? Not your wallet, not your car, but your ideas, your frameworks, your methodologies, the very intellectual property that separates you from the pack. And in the age of AI, they don't even need to break into your office. They just need to scrape your content, feed it to a language model, and boom, your life's work is now their competitive advantage. The Sensei is going to lead us into this conversation, man. So, Sensei, what do you have to say on that?
Well, here's the kicker, okay? Most creators, most entrepreneurs, they have no idea it's happening until it's too late. By the time they realize their signature framework is being taught by someone else, their book content is repurposed, their methodologies are repackaged, everything that they've worked for, somebody else is already doing it. As fast as they're creating, someone's already stealing. The damage is already done. It's too late.
Absolutely, my friend. And it's unfortunate, man, but that is the way of the world. You have to protect yourself. And tonight, we're not talking about theory. We're talking about tactics, real world IP protection strategies from the trenches of running multiple companies, right? Multiple. Publishing books, building podcast content frameworks, and operating in the cybersecurity space. This is Tech Tuesday, episode number 174, and we're about to drop the playbook on protecting your digital empire.
Yeah, remember, we studied the machine. We do not argue with the decorations. And this is the Final Boss podcast. We're going live. And if you're building anything, I mean anything, I don't care what it is, you need to lock it in for the next 60 minutes. This is how you protect yourself.
Right. Exactly, Sensei. And look, as he said, this is the Final Boss podcast. I am here. We are here. We're building the Final Boss community, the Final Boss nation. And look, I'm your host. I'm the one and only, the architect of insight, the Final Boss. And on the other side of me, my co-host of Tech Tuesday, the one and only, the Sensei, everybody. And that's my brother. That's my brother in the digital trenches, people, the Sensei, right? But before we execute the mission, let's establish the operational parameters. Sensei, can you lead us into that?
Sure. So first thing, we have to have a standard disclaimer, okay? This is for the Final Boss community. Look, this episode does contain strategic information about intellectual property protection. We are not attorneys. This is not legal advice. This is practical, tactical guidance from operators who protect informational and intellectual property daily. You have to consult with qualified legal counsel your specific situation. So what we tell you is to open your eyes, but not for you to file documents. You have to talk to proper legal representation if you want to do this correctly. We're just opening your eyes to what's out there.
Absolutely, Sensei. Thank you for that, sir. Thank you for that. And before we get started, we're going to go into tonight's brass tacks, man. We're going to go into tonight's brass tacks. And tonight's brass tacks, here it is, right? Your intellectual property is not just an asset. It's your ammunition in the workplace, the marketplace, all of the places where you conduct business. And if you're not protecting your ammunition, you're arming your competition.
That's it right there. I mean, that's your entire business strategy in one sentence, right? And let's break down why it matters, like right now, why it matters.
Well, Sensei, let's paint the picture. Let's paint the picture for him, right? We're in January 20th, 26. AI models can scrape entire websites in seconds, right? Deep learning algorithms can analyze your content, extract your frameworks, and generate derivative works that look original. What's the threat landscape looking like?
Well, it's target rich for intellectual property theft. Here's why. Number one, the AI-powered content scraping is automated, it's scalable. So nobody has to touch your stuff. The bots can do it. They can pull your podcast transcripts, your blog posts. They can pull your social media content and any book excerpts you have 24/7. The moment it comes out, they've got it. Number 2, the generative AI can create original works based on your methodologies. It can sound like you without direct copying, making traditional copyright claims harder to prove. Because all they do is use your methodologies, but don't quote you directly. 3, the global digital distribution means your intellectual property can be stolen, repackaged, and monetized in jurisdictions where enforcement is nearly impossible. It's a global landscape, and not everybody protects intellectual property. A lot of places don't care about intellectual property. Number 4, the barrier to entry for intellectual property theft has dropped to 0. Anyone with internet access can steal and monetize your work and doesn't have to do much to do it. They go in, get a chat bot going, tell it what to do, stick it on your stuff, and it'll gather the data for them. They don't have to do anything. They just tell it they want it.
And absolutely, sister. And you know what, man? Here's what keeps me up at night, right? Coming from a IT cybersecurity perspective, I'm seeing sophisticated actors using AI to conduct competitive intelligence. They're not just stealing content, they're analyzing your business models, reverse engineering it, right? Reverse engineering your systems and identifying your competitive advantages.
Yeah. So what's at stake? Everything. Your frameworks, like the 6 pillars of success, Absolutely. Your tier system, any of your podcast methodologies. It's not content. It's your brand differentiation. This is who you are. If they steal who you are, then where are you?
Exactly. And before you can protect something, you need to know what you're protecting. And Sensei, can you break down the IP categories that creators and entrepreneurs actually own?
Roger that. So let's categorize this military style. Okay, real simple. Category alpha. This is your copyrights. This is your written books, any articles, blog posts, or podcast transcripts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is stuff that you have. That's hard to get, right?
Absolutely, right.
Audio and visual. Any of your episodes, your podcast episodes, or your video content, even the music you use.
Mm-hmm.
The next part of that is your software code, your digital products. You create code, someone can steal it. Automatically protected upon creation, but registration strengthens enforcement. You got to register your stuff so that whatever you have is labeled as yours. So if somebody does steal it, you actually have a little bit of a leg to stand on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next part sounds a lot like a copyright, but it's a trademark. It's category Bravo. These are your business names, your podcast names, your show titles. These are all the things that easily tie you to you.
Right.
Your logos, your slogans, your taglines.
Mm-hmm.
The phrase, the final boss. Smarts, your branded frameworks. The fact that I say that we studied the machine, but we don't argue with the decorations, that's part of an identity. That's part of a brand.
Absolutely.
So this is going to protect your brand identity in commerce because you have to trademark those terms.
Correct.
And then the category Charlie, the third part, is trade secrets.
Mm-hmm.
These are proprietary methodologies and systems. This is the things that you do that are special that nobody else is doing. Your business processes, your operational procedures, and the part that we really start to get serious about it, this is your client lists, your databases, your secret sauce. This is what gives you your competitive advantage.
Right.
If somebody gets a hold of your client lists and databases, they can go directly market to your clients.
Absolutely.
Now, the last piece of it is your category delta, is your patents.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a new invention or technological innovation, you need to get it patented. Software algorithms, processes, all patentable. The most complex and expensive to obtain, but the most powerful protection.
Absolutely.
It's hard to get it, but boy, is it worth it if you have it.
Yep. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And here's the point that most people miss, right? They're sitting on millions in IP value and don't even realize it. Every framework you create, every systematic approach, every original methodology, that's intellectual property. That right there, my friends, is equity. Right? Now let's pivot for a moment. Let's pivot for a moment and get tactical, Sensei. Let's walk the final boss community through the protection pyramid, bottom to top. Foundation first.
Right. You always have to start with your foundation, because if you don't have a good foundation, whatever you build falls apart. So here's your 5-layer protection strategy. Okay. Your layer 1, simple documentation.
Mm-hmm.
You timestamp everything. Email yourself drafts with dates. Use version control systems. You can use Git repositories for your code. You can track changes for documents. If you use SharePoint, you can have version control through SharePoint.
Right.
You maintain your creation logs and development timelines. You have to document what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Screenshot and archive your original posts, your frameworks, your content, everything that you do. You need to have proof that you have original creation and ownership. If you don't have that, then they say, well, I had the idea at the same time they did. I just did it at the same time they did. Layer 2 is your copyright registration. Here we go again. You're talking about filing your paperwork. You have to register your major works with the U.S. Copyright Office. Now, usually you can do some of this stuff online yourself, but sometimes you need an actual copyright attorney to get the wording correct so you do it right. Okay? This can cost $45 to $65 per work, but this provides legal presumption of ownership. It's presumed that you own if you filed a copyright. Now, this is required. If you don't have this, you cannot file for statutory damages or attorney fees in litigation.
Right.
This protects your books, your course materials, your signature content. These are the things that now you have a little bit of teeth. If it's copyrighted and somebody infringes on your copyright, now you have something you can go back at them for.
Absolutely.
The next part is the layer 3. This is your trademark registration. So you have to register your business names, your podcast titles, anything that's branded, your branded frameworks. Federal trademark provides nationwide protection. Now, please understand this. This does not provide you protection outside of the United States. This is inside the United States. Somebody who's overseas can easily steal your content and get away with it because U.S. trademarks, they don't honor them.
Right.
It's a federal trademark provides nationwide protection. Now, this costs you about $250 to $300 per class of goods or services, but it prevents others from using confusingly similar marks.
Absolutely.
So if I got a 3-legged dog and they put a 2-legged dog, you see it's a little too close, right?
Right.
So
and
trademark.
Absolutely. And Sensei, I'm going to add a critical layer to that, right? And this is something that most people skip. The digital defense layer, right? In 2026, you need what is called a DMCA, takedown procedures ready to execute, monitoring systems to detect unauthorized use, watermarking and metadata embedding in digital content, blockchain timestamping for high-value IPs, right? Now, let's get specific. Sensei. We run this show once a week. We have 4 other shows that run also during the week. Walk me through protecting this content in the AI age.
It's an outstanding question because this is actually hits close to home, because podcast intellectual property protection has multiple attack surfaces. All right. But here's your checklist. It's not too hard. It's a pretty simple checklist. Step 1, your pre-production protection. So this is where your timestamp comes in. You copyright your intro and outro music or license with clear terms. You trademark your show names. The Final Boss Podcast, Tech Tuesday with the Sensei. All these things, you document the frameworks and the structures. You register your most valuable episode content as individual copyrighted works. But you're doing this in pre-production. So by the time you produce and somebody tries to steal it, you've already got it protected.
Correct.
Step 2 is your production security. You're going to have to add audio watermarking to episodes. Now, what that is, it's a watermark is like when you go online and you go to look at an image and it shows that you want to copy that image, but it shows property of that you can't get rid of. That's called a watermark. You can do that in audio. And when you do audio watermarking, it is possible to do it because it's inaudible to hear it, but it's there. And if you go to look at it later forensically, you can see the digital signature of the audio watermark. So they can't steal your audio without you saying, well, that's mine. Look, here's my watermark. And they go, oh, that is yours.
Right.
But they don't know it's there because they're just stealing it. You embed the metadata with copyright information. You put it right in there. Boom. Somebody steals a picture from you. Right in there is the copyright information. You have to use unique identifiers that can be traced if content is stolen. We're not going to call it Sony because you know what happened with Sony, right?
Right.
They got breached and they stole that movie. And guess what? You can't unsteal it.
Correct.
But you implement proper license for any music, clips, or third-party content. That's super important for production security. Next piece you're going to look at is your distribution control. So once you pre-protect it, protect the production, now you got to protect distribution.
Correct.
So you have to have explicit copyright notices on your show notes and descriptions. You have to use Creative Commons licenses strategically if you want to control sharing, who can share it, where it can be shared to. And here's the thing. You have to set up things like Google Alerts and monitoring for your show name and content. So if somebody else touches it inappropriately, you get a warning. Then you have to register your content ID systems on your YouTube and other platforms so they know if it's yours, it's got your stamp. It's got your thumbprint. Your thumbprint is on it. This is me. Without this thumbprint, it's not me. Then you can tell them if somebody steals something, you can tell them, is my thumbprint on it? Nope, take it down. Now, step 4 is your enforcement readiness. You have to be ready right away, ahead of time. Plan on somebody stealing your stuff. You just got to plan on it. Somebody's going to steal my stuff. So what do? You have your DCMA takedown templates already to go. You already know each location you host with. You already know their platforms, internet, the IP, intellectual property, protection policies is the big words that make your lips go weird. So what happens is you have to know on every platform, how do they protect your intellectual property? And you already need to have that listed to know. All right, I know that on YouTube it's this, on Instagram it's that, on TikTok here's what it is. So now you already know what their policies are. So if you get compromised on YouTube, you already know what their policies are in advance. Now you have to document your subscriber numbers and revenue for damages calculations. So you have to know with each hosting platform, what are my numbers?
Right.
How much do I normally, if I have a show that comes on and I normally have 10,000 viewers, and somebody steals my content, now I get 5,000 viewers, I have to know that from a damage calculation.
Absolutely.
Now, you also have to have a relationship with an intellectual property attorney for rapid response. So you have to have one on retainer. Somebody's on standby. If you have a problem, you can get a hold of them. It happens quickly. Because in today's world, do you think this stuff takes months to happen?
No.
It takes minutes.
Yep.
Hours.
Yeah.
You have to take something down that day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the harsh reality is this, man. I've had to send DMCA notices out. I've had to protect my frameworks. It's not theoretical, people. It's operational necessity. And to my final bosses, my smart, small motivators, and my warriors, right? That tagline right there, I own that, right? I've published Go Time All Aboard the Fired Up Train. and a new novel that's on its way. I'm not going to tell you the name of that, though. I've got the manuscripts in development. This is where IP protection gets personal. Sensei, what's the protection protocol?
Well, look, book protection, that's huge. That's a multi-layered warfare. So I'm telling you, again, you have to be on top of your game. You look, we're talking about layers again, okay?
Yeah.
Here we go. Very similar to what we did previously with the pyramid. Layer 1 is your pre-publication. You register your copyright before publication.
Correct.
So this, when somebody steals it, you've already got it copyrighted, not after the fact. They can claim they created it at the same time you did. Heck, they can claim you stole their idea. So for traditional publishing, you got to ensure your contract includes intellectual property retention clauses. For self-publishing, you own all the rights, but you better protect yourself accordingly. You can't leave yourself unprotected. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
You have to document your complete manuscript with timestamps. And this sounds really complicated to do all this stuff, but you know, in today's world, if you don't cover your bases left, right, up, down, and center, you're going to be taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
Now, once you publish, you have your layer 2 of your publication protection. This is where your ISBN registration, this is where they create a trackable identifier that says, this is you, you are a legitimate book. You copyright your page, with explicit notice and registration numbers, okay? It has to be on there. You can't miss it. Library of Congress registration for maximum protection.
Absolutely.
Now you have digital rights management, because if you're going to do an ebook, you got to protect that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Now once you got the protected during publication, now you publish. You're out there. It's in the world. What do you have? Your layer 3, your post-publication monitoring. This is where you have to look for things like plagiarism detection services. You're going to have to things like Copyscape, Grammarly. There's a plagiarism checker. Okay. Monitor Amazon and other platforms for unauthorized copies of your book.
Right.
Set up Google Books and Google Scholar alerts. Somebody has your stuff. They can take your digital copy and resell it. You need to know about it.
Yep.
And you got to check your piracy sites regularly. Library Genius, Z Library. You got to check those sites to make sure that your content isn't uploaded to those sites. And if it is, you better do it. What? You better let them know. Cease and desist.
Yep.
Now, layer 4 is your derivative works control. This is where you're going to look at your explicit reservation of your all rights for adaptations, translations, and sequels. So somebody can take your book and write a sequel that they pen the sequel based upon what they read from your book. You better reserve your rights to that.
Right.
Because otherwise somebody's going to take your book and say, I like that idea, but let me expand on it. And they create their own book based on your book. Now, if you have characters in it, settings, unique terminology, you better document all that. Consider trademarking any unique names or terms to include character names. Look, and you have to protect your book's branding separate with all of its elements, completely separate.
Correct. And here's what I've learned the hard way, man. Your book's frameworks are often more valuable than the book itself. The 6 pillars of success, the fired up train methodology, these need separate protection strategies.
Yeah. And this is where it gets sophisticated, because frameworks exist in that gray area, because it's between a copyright and a trade secret. So, you know, we need to tactical this up a little bit so we know what we're dealing with, because it is gray area.
Right. Absolutely. And, you know, we talk about it a lot. And we were just speaking about these particular frameworks. The 6 pillars of success, the building blocks of reward, the 5 systems of sovereignty, the 4 weapons of warfare, the tier system, the 3-layer architecture theory, each one represents years of development and refinement. How do I protect what makes me different and unique?
It's a 3-pronged strategy. Again, we keep going back to the same items. Prong one is you copyright the expression. You can't copyright an idea, but you can copyright the specific expression of that idea, which means you need to write detailed documentation of your framework. Create visual representations, diagrams, informatics, any drawings you have. Create those which are visual representations of your idea.
Right.
And develop comprehensive training materials. So, and then you copyright the complete body of work explaining your framework. So you do it from the beginning to end. Your specific language, any examples, and teaching methodology are copyrightable. Absolutely. So that's how you protect that. Then, of course, we come back to trademarking in prong two. Trademark is the branding.
Right.
Trademark the name if it's distinctive. Look, 6 pillars of success, that has to be trademarked as a branded methodology. The Fired Up Train has to be branded as a coaching system. And this prevents others from using the exact terminology in commerce when they try to sell something that they piggyback on your stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, the prong 3 is your trade secret protection. Any of your advanced implementation details need to be kept confidential. Use NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement with clients, partners, and collaborators. If somebody collaborates with you, they need to have an NDA. So if they take your idea and sell it to somebody else, they violate their non-disclosure agreement.
Right.
Look, and don't publish everything. You got to maintain a little something in the back pocket. Maintain your competitive intelligence. Your specific application process can be trade secrets. You just have to know that ahead of time.
And you know, that right there, that is critical. I share enough to build authority, but I hold back enough to maintain competitive advantage. It's strategic disclosure and total transparency. Now, we're in what I like to call my wheelhouse, right? As the CEO of SatDigiNet and the Final Boss Podcast, LLC, I see IP theft from the technical side. Sensei, let's talk digital fortress construction, because we're architects over here.
So, like anything else, if I'm a dentist, I know how to do teeth. If I'm a lawyer, I know how to do law. But do you know how to do technical? And that's the problem, is most people don't. So that's where the content creators are completely exposed. They protect the legal side, but they don't know enough about the technical side.
Right. Right. And here's your cyber defense protection for IP protection, right? The first layer, right? Listen, pay attention. Pay attention, take some notes. The first layer is the defense layer, right? This is what covers your access controls, right? You have to implement proper authentication. There's a multi-factor authentication that is used everywhere. You need to use role-based access control for collaborative projects. Never share master files on unsecured platforms. Make sure you're encrypting sensitive documents at rest and in transit, right? Defense layer number 2. This is your data protection, right? Make sure you're doing regular backups with version control. Use secure cloud storage with encryption, not just Dropbox or Google Drive without protection, right? Implement data loss prevention, right? Those are your DLP tools, right? Monitor file access and downloads. And your layer 3, right? This is your network security. This is very important, right? This is your VPN for remote work for sensitive materials. Here is your firewall and intrusion detection systems, your secure Wi-Fi and WPA3 encryption, your separate networks for business and personal use. And layer 4, right? Layer 4 is your endpoint security, your anti-virus and your anti-malware on all of your devices. Your disk encryption, right? Your BitLocker, your FileVault, those things. And your make sure you secure deletion of outdated materials, right? Physical security for devices containing IP is very important.
And in 2026, you have to add your AI protections. You have to add things like a robots.txt file to prevent AI scraping. So when AI tries to scrape your stuff, there's a file that it goes, oh, wait, what's this? Oh, it says you can't scrape this, and AI will stop. Watermarking for AI detection, specifically for AI detection. So if AI tries to come after your stuff and grab it because somebody told it to, it gets a block and goes, no, this isn't something you can have. And then you have to have monitoring for your AI-generated derivatives of your work. So, there's so much that's so technical and so crazy, because most of the times you would think, oh, I write a book, I publish a book, I'm good to go. No, you are not.
No.
Now you got to talk your contracts, because your legal agreements are your first line of defense when you work with others. Because how many times have you heard the horror story of you work with a person and they steal your idea and sell it to somebody else and you get nothing? They made movies on this stuff, for God's sake.
Absolutely, man. That's scary. That is very scary. And you need to understand, smarts, final bosses, warriors, motivators. You need to understand every collaboration, every partnership, every contractor, they all need proper documentation. And here's your contract warfare strategy, right? We're going to start with your contract type alpha. Those are your NDAs, your non-disclosure agreements. Those non-disclosure agreements are required before discussing proprietary information. They should be mutual or one-way, depending on the relationship. They need to include specific descriptions of confidential information. You need to make sure that you are setting clear term limits and return on the destruction of obligations, right? And you need to use these for your podcast guests, discussing your frameworks, acting as consultants, and any business partnerships, right? And here's your control type Bravo, man. We love to use the military phonetics, right? So here's Bravo, right? And this is your work for hire agreements, right? This is your WHAs. These are essential for contractors creating content for you, that explicitly state that you own all IP created. And this includes assignment of copyrights and more rights, right? You heard that correctly, people. Copyrights and more rights. And this also covers all derivative works and future uses. This is critical for ghostwriters, graphic designers, video editors, and developers. And you guessed it, contract type Charlie, right? These are your LAs. These are your license agreements. This is what you need when you let others use your IP, right? Yeah, you can let others use it, but you need to have a license agreement in place, right? This defines your scope, exclusive versus non-exclusive, duration, and territory, right? Set royalty rates and payment terms. Include quality control and approval rights. Maintain ownership while controlling use.
And here's the mistake. Here's the mistake. People will collaborate first without clear intellectual property ownership terms. Then they fight about who owns what later. Get it in writing first. And that's the thing. It's easy to do it now and then worry about paying the attorneys and losing all your money later.
Correct. Every single time, no exceptions, right? None whatsoever. I don't care if it's your best friend, your business partner, or family member. IP ownership gets documented up front, people.
Now, once you do that, and you've got it so that it's in place, you have to have protection. But protection without monitoring is like having an alarm system in your house and you never turn it on. Now, let's talk detection and response.
Excellent, Sensei. Thank you for sharing that, man. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Look, your IP monitoring command center requires multiple sensor systems, right? These are your monitoring system one automated alerts, right? You didn't know this existed. Now you do, right? Your first layer, Google alerts for your name, business names, framework titles, Copyscape premium for web content, right? 10i and Google reverse image search for visual content. YouTube content ID for video and audio. Social media listening tools like Mention and Brand24. And your System 2 manuals, right? System 2 manual sweeps. This is your monthly searches for your unique phrases and frameworks. Check Amazon for unauthorized book copies for similar titles. Review competitor content for suspiciously similar methodologies. Audit your own digital footprint, and you will see what's exposed. And System 3, this is your community intelligence. Your audience, like I mentioned earlier, smarts, final bosses, can be censors, right? Encourage reporting of IP violations. Monitor industry forums and groups. Track mentions in podcasts and media. And Sensei, what else you got for us?
Now, once you do all that, once you know what's going on and you realize, somebody did a boo-boo, now you have to have enforcement, the tactical response. Now, your first step is document violation. You better know right away. Screenshots, archives, because if you find something, it might be up for a minute and gone.
Yeah.
So you gotta have your screenshots, your archives, your URLs, which are your web pages, your timestamps, and build your evidence file. Step 2, you got to do a cease and desist. This is why you have to have that attorney on standby. You have to have a formal letter demanding they stop, remove content, and compensate damages. Now, this often results in about 70% of violations without litigation.
Right.
Step 3 is your DMCA takedown. For your online violation, you got to file DMCA with your hosting platform, usually effective within 24, 48 hours. So you got to tell them, hey, online, this is a bad thing, take it down. Now, the step 4 is the hard part. If necessary, you got to pursue legal litigation. Having registered copyrights and trademarks makes it stronger. If you don't have all of that in place ahead of time, you don't have a strong case, you might just spend a lot of money and end up losing in the long run.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, right? Now let's address the elephant in the room, right? Which is our best friend. And y'all know who we're talking about. We're talking about AI itself, right? Sensei, this is the new battlefield, and most creators don't even know they're under attack.
Of course not, because AI presents unique challenges. You know, look, you have multiple threats, okay? 3 major threats. The first one is data scraping. We talked about that. Training data scraping. All AI models scrape publicly available content to train on your frameworks, your writing style, your methodologies, and they become part of the model. Users can then prompt the AI to create content in your style using your frameworks. Heck, I've done an experiment just to see what it would look like. I said, create me a book on this subject using the style of, and named off 3 public people that are out there in the world, and it did.
Wow.
And it did. So threat 2 is your derivative generation. AI can analyze your work and create original variations. This is harder to prove infringement because it's not direct. Copying can undermine your market by flooding it with similar content.
Correct.
Now, this threat 3, and this is the hard one here. For digital creators, deepfakes, impersonation, voice cloning from your podcast, your audio happens. Image generation, mimicking your visual brand and your potential for reputation damage and fraud. So if somebody mimics you and then says things that you don't say in your voice, your reputation be gone in a day.
Absolutely. And you know, smarts, final bosses, warriors, motivators. Here's your IP defense protocol, right? Defense number one, you have to restrict AI access. Use robots.txt to block AI crawlers, right? Chat GPT, Claude, Gemini bots, right? Those are the ones we're talking about. You have to implement CAPTCHA and bot detection on your website. Don't publish complete frameworks in easily scrapable formats. Use PDF with copy protection instead of plain text. And defense number 2, right? This is your watermark and fingerprint, right? This adds invisible watermarks to text, syntax patterns, unique phrases. Using audio watermarking and podcasts, as the Sensei mentioned earlier. You have to embed metadata in all digital files. Create detection signatures for your content style. And defense number 3, this is your legal and technical combination, right? And this includes all AI specific language and corporate notices. Explicitly prohibit AI training use in terms of service, right? You have to register works to establish legal ownership. You have to monitor AI outputs for your IP, right? That's for AI to detect AI theft, right? And defense number 4, this is your strategic obscurity, right? Keep your most valuable IP in private. Paid communities, right? Like Substack and those other ones, right? Use authentication gates for premium content, right? Implement tiered access. Free content is general, right? Detail IP is protected. Never give away your complete system publicly.
And you can't do it alone.
Correct.
And you need to build you got to build the IP protection squad. You just got to do it.
Yes, you do. Oh man, I like that. I might coin that to say I'm still in that from you, the IP protection squad. I like that. Every final boss needs a team. Here's your roster. Position 1. This is your intellectual property attorney, right? You have to have that, man, that specializes in copyright, trademark, and licensing, that handles registrations, enforcement, and litigation, that reviews contracts before you sign, that maintains relationship. Don't wait until you have a problem. It's going to cost you between $300 to $500 an hour, but it's worth every penny, right? So you think you want to get in this business, you better think before you do. Listen, you must be prepared, right? And position number 2, this is your business attorney. This handles entity formation, those contracts, general business law, often works with IP attorney on complex deals. They review partnership and collaboration agreements. They ensure business structure protections and personal assets, right? And your position number 3, this is your cybersecurity specialist. And look, we're for hire. We're cybersecurity specialists and we're for hire, right? We're the people that implement technical protections for digital assets, conduct security audits and penetration testing, monitors for data breaches and unauthorized use access, right? We can be consultants or managed services, right? Managed services, like what? SAT DigiNet. That's just an example. And look, position number 4, this is your account financial advisors. These people value your IPs, right? And they offer values for your IP for tax purposes and business purposes. Structures IP holding companies, if that's appropriate, right? They track revenue generated by EIP asset. They advise on monetization strategies, right? And position number 5, right? This is your team. This is your starting 5. You need to have virtual assistants, operators, managers that would execute monitoring protocols, files registrations and paperwork, tracks deadlines and renewal dates. This is your first line of response for violations. And what you got, Sensei?
And don't forget, your team doesn't have to be full-time employees. You can use specialists on a retainer or on a project basis, especially when you start out. So when you start out, you pay that to get your framework, and then you have them on standby if you need them. You don't have to have them all the time. That keeps your costs down.
Correct. And here's why it all matters. Here's why it all matters. Protected IP is monetizable. I'm going to say that again. Protected IP is monetizable IP. Sensei, let's talk about revenue streams.
Okay, so once you got your IP protected, once your intellectual property is protected, now you can confidently monetize it through multiple channels. So the first one is called the revenue stream one is licensing. So you license your frameworks to coaches and consultants. You license your content to training companies. You license your brand to products or services, and you generate passive income while you maintain ownership. Now, the revenue stream two is your courses and training. So you protected your methodologies, but now they can become premium courses. You charge for certification in your frameworks, and you create tiered level access. Of course, you're going to start with some free content, but if they want the good stuff, then they got to pay.
Absolutely.
That's for your advanced content. Now, you can have online courses, workshops, mastermind programs. These are things you can do that once you get someone who understands that you have value in your content, they want to get to the good stuff. Now, your revenue stream three is your books and publications. Now, again, what do? We protect the books. Therefore, they can generate ongoing royalties. You spin off books using your frameworks can also create ongoing royalties. Your workbooks and study guides and companion materials, those all go along with the books with your framework. You can use them during your training. Then you have foreign rights and translations. So if this starts to grow and get big, now you can push across the globe. Now, your revenue stream four is once you get your framework squared away, you've been doing classes, you've got your books and your materials, now you can start doing your speaking and consulting. So your protected frameworks give you authority. You can charge premium rates for your proprietary systems. You can use corporate trainings using your methodologies and keynote speaking about your unique approach. Now, once you get to that point, you now move on to the next piece of the puzzle. How do you make it grow? And how you make it grow is revenue stream five, franchising and certification. You can create certified practitioners of your method, ongoing royalties from certified coaches, build a network effect around your intellectual property. Your brand becomes bigger than just you.
And here's the key. The key to all of this, everything that we're speaking of right now in this episode number 174, right? Protected IP is worth more. When investors, partners, and buyers look at your business, they see your registered trademarks, they see your copyrights and documented trade secrets. This adds significant value. Your IP portfolio is your business evaluation. And listen, I want to add to that, but it's something I'm working on and I'm doing some research on, right? You'll learn about it more in the future. But remember that piece right there I just mentioned, your protected IP and the value in it. Now, final bosses, smarts, motivators, warriors. This is our community. We're building the Final Boss Nation, Final Boss community. We've covered a lot of information in the last 60 minutes. We've covered tactical IT protection warfare. The Sensei, let's send them out, right, with an execution plan.
So with a plan, let's set timelines. So let's do a 90-day timeline. So here's your 90-day intellectual property protection mission. Okay. Now, days 1 through 30. This is your audit and document. This is where you list every IP asset you own. You gotta list. You gotta write it down. If you don't know what it is, write it down.
Absolutely.
And in the process of writing it down, you're going to discover that you might have more content than you thought you had. So that's your inventory. You got to do your inventory. content, frameworks, brands, products. Write it all down. Document the creation dates and development history for each one of those. As you have it, document it. Now, once you know that, now you know what you got, compile your examples of each piece of intellectual property in use. Identify your highest value assets requiring immediate protection. So now what you do is once you inventory, you know what you have, you've documented it. Now you have to say, okay, of all that I have, the high value stuff is here. Protect that first. You got to prioritize your value. Now, once you do that, in your days 31 through 60, you're going to register and secure it. So now for your major works, you're going to file your copyright registrations. You're going to submit your trademark applications for your brands and your frameworks. And here's where you're going to begin with your basic cybersecurity protections. You're going to set up your monitoring systems and your alerts, and you're going to get your standard contracts ready. Your NDAs, your work for hire templates, all of those contracts you're going to have everybody signing, you get them ready now. Now, once you're there, days 61 through 90, you're going to do your monitoring and enforcing. That's your first monitoring sweep. My content's out there, sweep. Who's trying to steal it? Address any existing violations early in the game. Now you're going to have to build your relationship with your intellectual property attorney and your cybersecurity support so that you can respond quickly. That's why you have to have those relationships in place. Create your enforcement protocols. You have to create your playbook. Your playbook says, if this happens, do that. Okay? Once you know your playbook, then you can execute based upon your playbook. Now you can begin your strategic monetization of your protected intellectual property.
Right. And remember, IP protection is not a project, it's a process. This is ongoing operations, not a one-time event. Every piece of content you create, every framework you develop, every brand element you introduce, it enters your IP protection system. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. We're talking immediately, right? This is what separates the final bosses from the casualties. We don't just create the value, we protect it, defend it, and multiply it. And for my smarts, final bosses, motivators, and warriors tuning in, this is your playbook that the Sensei was just talking about. You need to execute it with sniper-like precision, right? You need to protect what you build. Put those iron sights up, right? Your intellectual property is your legacy, your equity, your ammunition in the marketplace. The resources for tonight's episode include IP registration links, recommended attorneys, cybersecurity tools, contract templates, and monitoring systems. All are available in the show notes at the Final Boss Podcast, right? And now, Sensei, you got a final word.
Well, I always have the final word, which is what? We study the machine, study the systems. We don't argue with the decorations. You would never leave your car unlocked in a bad neighborhood. Hell, you don't even want to park your car in a bad neighborhood. You don't leave your password for your bank account on a sticky note. Why would you leave your intellectual property, the foundation of your business, unprotected? The time to protect your intellectual property is now, before you need it, not after it's been stolen. Because once it's stolen, you cannot unsteal it.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Listen, this has been the Final Boss Podcast, Tech Tuesday, episode number 174. Listen, we'll see you again next week on Tuesday at 9 p.m. live, and every other Tuesday. After that, we're always here, and look for more technical technology warfare, man. We're going to be providing that for you. And until then, protect your empire, execute with precision, and stay fired up, right? Stay fired up. This is the Final Boss. I am the architect of insight. alongside of me is the Sensei, right? Sound like wrestling match names, right? The Sensei versus the Architect of Insight, right? Sensei.
We're a tag team. We're the tag team.
What?
We're the tag team.
We're tag. Yes, we're tag team. Yeah, we're tag team. Yes, we're the British Bulldogs.
That's what I was going to say. We're just like the British Bulldogs. There you
like
go.
That.
That's right.
It's been a long time. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, there we go. Look, I hope everyone enjoyed this show, man. To each and every single last one of you, no matter where you're watching from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And if this information resonates with you, don't gatekeep. Share it with 3 prospects, right? Share it with 3 prospects who you believe the information will resonate with them also. And as always, man, like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. And if it does resonate and it marinates in your spine, remember this. There's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. We are here. I am here. This is the Final Boss Podcast. This is Final Boss Community, Final Boss Nation. Be balanced, be equal, and most importantly, be smart, people. That's our show for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Y'all have a great night. And Chikani, you're late. The book is copyright and it is trademarked. It's all on the back of the cover. It is done. We're good in that department, and more is on the way. But thank you for that. Everyone else, thank you for your comments. Please continue to support us, man. We greatly appreciate it. Remember, this information is free. The paid information is coming. In order to do the pay piece, we have to make sure that our legal structures are all in place. And you best believe it's in the works. It is in the works, good people. Y'all have a great night. Season 4 is on its way. Episode number 200 will end season 2, which is the end of the reckoning. Season 3 will be the beginning of the rebirth, people. The rebirth. It's coming. Stay tuned, be wise, and be great. Y'all have a great night.